All right, so I just got some really conclusive data in for the 2024 August core update. And after I shot video one, which by the way is in the description if you haven't seen that, people were saying that, what I said in that video, basically their data correlated to that as well. When they started looking into what I was saying, they started seeing the same thing. Well, it's been about a week since I shot that video, and I wanted to do an update because I've got some really good data that's came in since then that really backs that up. And I want to show you specific movement and explain the inner workings of what's going on behind these movements, so it helps you understand what Google makes with these changes and the type of changes they make. Because remember, I said in the part one, Google usually just rotates with things, right? They go between, making domain authority more important, anchor text more important, less important, page authority more, like they just kind of mix and match between all these really important page factors, on page, off page, anchor text, and they just kind of change the levers. And I'm going to show you the levers that are being changed right now, and I can see it in real time with my data. I can see exactly what's going on with some of the movements, and I want to show you a specific example with data, so you can see exactly what I mean when I'm talking about this stuff. I'm going to show you like an exact example from a reputation management client, and I'll show you that in just a second. But again, if you didn't watch part one, make sure you watch that. Link is in description. That way you have a full understanding of what I'm talking about here. It's really important that you understand what I'm saying here, because it's going to help you understand SEO better and future updates better. Also, I'm down the beach, so if my sound isn't great, my fault. I don't have any of my equipment with me. I got a new computer, so I don't even know how this is going to sound. But I'm on vacation, but people were asking for an update, so I wanted to shoot a quick update. But let's go to the data. So I have a document up here just to show this rep management client that I've been working on. Now, this rep management client, we've been crushing it for, and one of the ways that I do rep management is I take PBNs. So a PBN is a private blog network. It's like a powerful site I buy at auction, and I basically optimize the homepage for the target term. Okay, so let's say the reputation management is Greg Morrison, okay, which is me obviously. But let's say Greg Morrison comes to me and he's like, "Hey, I got some properties on page one. I need to bump off." So I'm like, "All right," I get my PBN network. I fire up a bunch of ones I haven't used yet. I put a very optimized article for Greg Morrison on the homepage. Optimize the homepage total for Greg Morrison, and it's going to rank really well. Okay, because you're optimizing that. With this update, it's not ranking as well, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. So before this update happened, this is what the first page looked like for this client. This is similar for other clients we have. We had a LinkedIn Pulse, which was a property I created and linked to from the PBNs. Then we had my PBN, my PBN, my PBN at 2, 3, and 4. We had their Instagram at number 5, which I also linked to. We had my PBN at number 6, another one of my PBNs. Then we had LinkedIn, like their regular LinkedIn, their Speaker Hub, and their Behance at 7, 8, and 9. At number 10, we had another one of my PBNs where, again, the homepage was optimized. And, of course, it was just, it's a powerful site. There's a bunch of links going to the homepage. Then I do the on-page optimization. Even though there's no off-page optimization, of course, pre-update didn't matter as much. Now it matters more, and we'll explain why in a second. Well, this is what it looks like now. Okay, now also things are shifting, so we don't have a full picture of how much they're adjusting this kind of lever yet. But now here's what the first page looks like. LinkedIn Pulse is still number 1. Their Instagram that was 5 is number 2. Their Behance that was 9 is now 3. Their Speaker Hub that was now 8 is 4. Okay, then there's now a page 2 property I was linking to that's number 5. Same thing for number 6. There's another property on number 7 that I don't even know if I linked to that one. I don't think I linked to that one. Then one of my PBNs is number 8. And then we got other properties at 9 and 10. Okay, so what's interesting is, and then you see all the other PBNs that were on page 1 are now either page 2 or 3. So this really backs up the data that we talked about in the first video, because what's happening is Google is paying more attention to anchor text, right? So in this pre-update listing right here, it was more about power. These PBNs that are all ranking number 2, 3, 4, 6, and 10, they have 0 anchor text based around Greg Morrison, right? Now I'm just using a fill-in name because we still have this client. I don't want to expose the client, but we're just putting my name obviously as a kind of fill-in. All these PBNs have no anchor text with Greg Morrison. Okay, they're solely based off power. Whole bunch of links going to the home page where there's a lot of power because all the links are going there. Yeah, there's a lot of power to like Instagram, right? But the page doesn't have as much power. This page for these PBNs have like hundreds of links to them, right? Because they're powerful PBNs. And all that power I'm utilizing by just doing the on-page optimization. Well, after this update, remember how much we talked about in video 1, how much anchor text seems to be playing a part in this update, where more exact match anchor text seems to be pushing the needle more. Well, that fits perfectly because what's going on, there's no exact match anchor text for any of these PBNs, so they all dropped. But it's not like these PBNs got penalized, right? They're all still ranking. We got one on page 1, we got the rest of most of them on page 2, and some on page 3. They're not penalized because all these properties we linked to moved up. They're all still moving up, right? But what's funny is about these properties, you know, the top 6 that all are ones I linked to, well, all of these have exact match anchor text because from these PBNs, I link to these properties with, you know, exact match or close to exact match anchor text, like Greg Morrison. Who is Greg Morrison? Greg Morrison information, things like that. Very close relevance or very close instance. Sorry, my wife's texting me, so I lost train of thought. Very close instances of the exact match anchor text. And these all moved up to the top 6. So instead of having 4 PBNs in the top 6, we now have all of their properties in the top 6 that we've been linking to with exact match anchor text. So when I first saw this, when I first saw the change, I was like in the first 10 seconds, I was like, oh shit, my PBNs got penalized. No, they didn't get penalized because one's still page 8, one's still number 8 on page 1. I think the other 4 are on page 2, and there's one on page 3. But all the properties I linked to all moved up and are dominating the top of the results. So they're not penalized. It's just that the anchor text thing that we talked about in part 1 is coming into play now, right? It's coming into play more. Now, be aware that also things shift. Okay, this is where the results are at the moment I'm shooting this video. A couple days ago, like I saw this a few days ago, and then a couple days ago I saw like 3 of my PBNs back to page 1, and now today I'm going back to seeing this. So we'll see where this update lands. But the point is, all they're doing is shifting levers, right? The lever right now is more towards anchor text being a bigger ranking factor, right? Right here, pre-August core update, what's happening is anchor text is less of an importance, right? It's more about power. It's more about the link power going to the property, as you can see in these results. With this update, it's less about the link power, more about the relevance of the anchor text. Again, not saying there's not other factors involved, but when you're doing these types of analyzations, you have to put things in boxes where you're never going to figure out what's going on. So when we look at this box between power and this box between anchor text, and we compare these two, we can see the shift, right? The power, it was up here before, and it shifted like this, right? The anchor text went up, the power went down. That's the shift that happened with this August core update. And again, not saying there's not other things, because I'm positive there is, but this is a really big one. Okay, this is a really big factor that's going on right now with the August core update. So that's the update I have for you. If things shift dramatically, I'll do another update. If not, I think you guys get the picture. The big thing I want you to understand is not just where this update is taking us, but more how Google works, where they shift these levers with these core updates and any update they do, which makes anchor text more important or less important. Power, more important, less important. Or domain power, more important, less important. Page power, more important, less important. And they shift through all this stuff over and over. Be very careful, because if you start over-optimizing your anchor text to kind of go towards what it seems this algorithm is going to, well, then next update, you could be over-optimized. So I always say keep it natural. Don't just see what's working and do exactly that. You have to kind of stay natural between all these movements that are going on. So if you guys have questions, let me know. Throw comments down below. Always love hearing your feedback. I got to get back to my vacation. My wife's texting me. They're on the beach. They're waiting for me. So I'm going to end this here, and I'll see you guys all soon.